if age isn't the reason for fertility issues, I mean, yeah, it can be a factor, but I find it's much smaller of a factor than people think. Like, what do you think are the real reasons for fertility issues?
Safety, of course. So we have the emotional safety, then physical and physiological safety. And physiological is where we find all of the stuff like the mycotoxins in metabolic dysfunction. So if your blood sugar is on a roller coaster all day long, or your circadian rhythm is out of whack, or your thyroid's not functioning. Those are all the things that I'm putting into physiologic. And then environmental safety. And those are the things that we often, what are the toxins that your body's constantly dealing with?
Hello, my friends. We have a special treat today. We have an amazing doctor who actually has been my doctor in the fertility world. So that speaks volumes because I'm really picky. So we have Dr. Aumatma Simmons, and she is a double board certified naturopathic endocrinologist. Really, she's revolutionizing fertility care. So, after witnessing countless couples struggle with invasive treatments, she pioneered a functional approach that addresses root causes without drugs or financial strain. That's a big one. She's helped hundreds of medically hopeless couples conceive naturally. Beyond her clinical practice, she has trained hundreds of physicians. She's authored a best-selling book, and she is host of an award-winning podcast and created Madre Fertility, the world's first smart fertility analysis. Featured across major networks as the leading holistic fertility expert, she's expanding her fertile systems approach to help professionals create abundance without burnout. And she recently did a TED Talk as well. So she is a go-getter. And tell us about your TED Talk, actually.
The TED Talk was a lot of fun. It was at Texas A&M, which is an hour from where I live. And I really had the opportunity to share what I have been working on, or what I feel like is the core of what I do, and to be able to share it on such a big platform. So the takeaway is how safe we feel in our bodies. And that safety is not just like physical safety, which most of us, when someone says safe, they're like, well, my partner's not beating me up, like I'm safe. But we're talking about safety, like even the toxins in our environment are creating a degree of unsafe in our body, that if we have enough of these signals, we have enough toxins, we have enough stress or overwhelm from work, or we have all these different areas where the body's registering like, I'm not safe,
Mhm.
then it reprioritizes our own survival over
Mhm.
reproduction.
Yeah.
So the way we shift that is really to send more of that, capitalize on safety, right? Like send as many messages of safety as we can in everything that we do. And
Mhm.
when we're able to do that, then the body reprioritizes and says, oh, okay, great. Now we can reproduce because we're safe.
Right.
So that's kind of the crux of what we're doing without like saying that's what we're doing. But
Mhm.
the TED Talk really like pushed me to analyze and really like get a message in 12 minutes that of like all the stuff that we do for months and months, like people are like, what do you do exactly? So this became like a way for me to crystallize it in a 12-minute talk
Mhm.
that makes sense and like can be approachable to people, instead of like, oh, she does some woo stuff, you
Right,
know?
totally. I don't know about you, sometimes I feel like we're the best kept secret, and it's just any way that we can get on a platform and reach a lot of people. I'm passionate about that because people just don't know about what we do, and that they don't even know that it's an
Exactly.
option. So, you're passionate about fertility. I mean, why are you into fertility? Why is this something that you focus on?
It started at this point, it's like just what I do. But it
Mhm.
started because I was married to this man who wanted to have children. And like, as I talk about it now, I'm like, well, I wasn't really safe in that relationship. But it
Mm.
it was the financial safety and like feeling cared for and supported in a way that would allow me to become a mother. Like I never had that in that relationship. And
Mhm.
that is what triggered me to look into fertility because as soon as he started talking about babies, my uterus was like, no, God, no, like, don't do that. And I was like, oh my God, do I not want to have children? I never even thought about it. And now we're married. And what does that mean? And like went down this whole rabbit hole of what can I do? Because even, I don't know if you remember this, but I learned in medical school, like your fertility is going to drop off of a cliff at 35. It's what
Right.
everyone learns in medical school. So
Mhm.
it doesn't matter that we went to natural medical school, it was the same message. And I was like, well, if that's true, then I'm basically screwed. um,
Right.
and I had to start thinking about what was I doing? Am I okay with not having children? Because that was a very real possibility.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I came to like, yes, I would really like to have a child, but not with him. So that meant
Mhm.
like I was going to figure out what I could do. And egg freezing back then, this was 15 years ago. So back then, egg freezing was, it had like a 1% success rate. Like 1% of frozen eggs were turning into healthy, viable humans. And I was like, well, I just don't have the money for a 1% chance that this is going to like
Yeah,
save my
those aren't some good
fertility.
odds.
No, especially when it costs like $10,000 to do the freezing and then like 5K a year to keep the eggs. I was like, no, this is sounding like not a good idea. So then I was like, okay, well, what else then? Granted, the success rates with egg freezing are better now. Not
Yeah.
by that much, but they're better.
Mhm.
Um, but still, what I came to was like, there's actually a ton that we can do, and we have the means within ourselves to freeze our eggs, quote unquote. Not that we're freezing them,
Ooh,
but
love that.
we really could preserve and honestly like improve our fertility with time,
Yeah.
not an automatic decline drop off of a cliff, right? So
Mhm.
back in my 30s when I was burnt out working 80 hours a week, not taking care of myself, barely eating, skipping meals, like literally doing all the things that were uh, putting my hormones in a shit show, let
Yeah.
alone fertility.
Mhm.
And I knew that I could feel it in some ways, but I wasn't like so focused on it because I wasn't trying to have a baby. And as soon as I started doing all of the fertility research and kind of figuring out like what can I do for myself, I was like, oh crap, like I'm doing all of the wrong things. And
Mhm.
if I'm gonna have a baby in the future, at some future date that I don't know, then I better start working on this stuff now. And
Mhm.
that's really what led me down this fertility rabbit hole. And I started talking about it because I was like, I can't believe that we're taught that our fertility declines at 35. That's not actually based in any science. I couldn't find a single research paper that actually said that. And I was like, okay, so then how did this come about? And it apparently came about from churches in the 1800s that have documented that women wouldn't bring their children in to get baptized after the age of 35. So fertility drops off a cliff after 35, of course. I was like, well, 1800s in France. What was happening in the 1800s? Life expectancy for a female in the 1800s in France was 32.
Oh
So,
gosh.
like, of course they weren't bringing their children in to
They
get
were dead.
baptized. They were literally not alive anymore. So,
Wow.
um, is so I just like it pissed me off that we were so far behind and like literally if the foundation of fertility is our age, which everyone tells us, right? You've had this conversation before with a doctor that
Mhm.
just like if you are told that because of your age you can't do this thing, then there has to be science to back that up.
Right.
And to me, if I'm like, well, everything falls apart if that age thing is not true.
Mhm.
So I mean, granted, yes, fertility has an overall decline with age. I'm not saying that age has no effect, right?
Right.
But I am saying that if the foundation is this 35 cliff, then prove it to me. Tell me that it exists and show me the data that backs it up.
Mhm.
And what the studies that have actually been done, which are very small scale, to be honest, like I wish there was a massive study on this,
Mhm.
but what they found is that I think the study comes out of Sweden or something like that. And they studied the age groups of 25 to 29-year-olds versus 35 to 39-year-olds. And they found that there was a 3% decline in fertility between those two age groups. So
Wow.
now we have whole groups of women that are freaking out because they're hitting 35 and you're like, oh my God, my fertility, like, what am I doing? Am I gonna ever have a child? And I just have to be like, well, none of that is based in truth. Like, yeah, you can have a 3% drop off. Like, you can handle that all day long,
Mhm.
especially if that 3% drop off is because you've been drinking, partying, not work, like way overworking, not sleeping, not taking care of your body. That 3% is very easy to recoup from just
Mhm.
making lifestyle changes.
Right.
So to me, I started talking about it because I was pissed. And I was like, I can't believe I learned this, but like we this is the message that all women are getting and we need to know
Mhm.
different.
Mhm.
Um so that's where it started. And then people were like, oh great, you can help me with fertility. And I was like, no, that wasn't the plan. I'm not talking about this stuff. And they ended up a lot of the women that were messaging were like, "We have to work with you." And I was like, "Okay, we can give it a shot and see what happens." and and here we are,
Here
15
we
years
are.
later, still going.
So many doctors who have been benefited from, your training and your teaching and, patients as well. It's amazing how just the ripple effect of what it's done. And, I know you and I both look at fertility very different than a lot of, well, than probably most conventional doctors. And it's more of a holistic fertility. So like what is that? What's the difference in the approach?
There, I think the major difference is just seeing your body as a whole unit and combining your partner into that unit.
Hmm.
If you are talking about fertility specifically, then your partner has equal amounts of a role in what's happening.
Hmm.
So at the minimum, you and your partner are getting evaluated from this whole place. And that means it's not just about your reproductive system. It's not just about what's happening with your AMH and FSH, which is
Mhm.
the
Preach.
conventional
Yeah, end all be all.
evaluation.
Yep.
Yeah. We don't need your estrogen. We don't need progesterone. We definitely don't need thyroid hormones, right? Like that's the message that most women get.
Right.
And yet we know that there are so many interconnections. The What your ovaries are doing is directly an impact or a result of what your thyroid is signaling, what your adrenals are saying about the status of what your environment is doing to your body, right? Your
Mhm.
Whether that's stress or metabolic dysfunction or like just overwhelmed in general, or
Mhm.
periods of stress over 10 years that have led to kind of a flat line of your cortisol or your estrogen not metabolizing correctly. Like there's so many interconnections with hormones that
Yeah.
have a huge impact on whether or not your body is going to decide, yes, let's get pregnant, or no, it's not the time right now.
Mhm.
And it's so much beyond the basic, like, what, how many eggs do you have left?
Right. Yeah, holistic fertility, like we are included in that holism, right? That holistic view as seeing our body as a whole, not just, oh, we can think about doing Vitex as something, right? It's not just take an herb instead of a medication. It's looking at your body as a whole and understanding that, you know? So when you're doing lab testing, for clients, what are like, I know you mentioned thyroid, you mentioned hormone checking. Are there any other lab tests that you make sure that you include for them?
Yes. So there is definitely like the basics. I call them the basics. These are labs that your doctor could do, but most often is not doing, especially in the context of fertility, which is things like your blood sugar, your liver enzymes, your red blood cells, white blood cells, ferritin, vitamin D, basic, basic, basic. And then when it comes to thyroid, like doing a full thyroid panel, doing the antibodies, even if TSH looks normal.
Mhm.
The number of times, I can't even tell you how many times that TSH is completely fine,
Yep.
yet this person has recurrent losses, and it has to
Mhm.
do with the antibodies to the thyroid. And there was a time when they would go to their conventional endocrinologist and they would just get told, oh no, that has no effect because your thyroid is completely fine.
Drives
And
me
it's like,
nuts. I get so mad. It's like such a
yeah,
basic thing. It's, oh, it's so off
yeah.
track.
Yeah, like not quite true because if your immune system's reacting, it's very easy for that immune system to then attack the little embryo and cause a
Mhm.
pregnancy loss. So, doing a deeper dive into the thyroid, and then methylation is a big one. So we could do a full panel of like SNPs and all of that, but we just start with homocysteine. Like that's a really good marker to understand, is methylation happening relatively well or not.
Mhm.
And if your body's adapting, you could have all the genes in the world, but your body's taking care of it, then we don't need to worry about the 500 possible genes that are mutated,
Mhm.
right? Like, yeah. So that's the basic panel. And then we have the hormone panels. A couple of specific things around those are being able to look at all the metabolites of the different hormones. So Dutch test is what we are using.
Mhm.
And then we also want to look at a cycle map. That's the estrogen and progesterone throughout the course of the cycle. And that's where we're really starting to see the patterns emerge where like I just had this person do a test last week and her Dutch test showed perfect progesterone. And then we look at her cycle map and it's her progesterone goes up sort of. I say sort of because I'm like, well, I don't see what this Dutch test shows. She
Mhm.
missed a day though. She missed the day that she did the Dutch test. She didn't do the other collection. But essentially, the rest of her cycle, her progesterone's like bare minimums, and her estrogen is like almost double her progesterone through the entire
Mhm.
luteal phase. And I'm
Interesting.
like, well, there's no way your body's having a baby because
Right?
your estrogen is so high that even though your progesterone could be okay if your estrogen was a lot lower, it's bare minimums, but it could potentially work if that estrogen wasn't so high. When that estrogen is out out outweighing the progesterone, then the body's like, well, it's not time to procreate because there isn't adequate levels of progesterone. It's just like
Mhm.
ignoring what's even available because that estrogen is like screaming in
Mhm.
the body.
Yeah, and you wouldn't know that without that data.
Yeah. So a cycle map is an absolute necessity in the
Mhm.
work that we do. And then we have a vaginal microbiome that is a newer test, but that's going to help just be able to see is the uh, is the vaginal microbiome relatively pro fertility or are there a bunch of anti-fertility microbes in there that are making it really hard to get or stay pregnant?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll often see those out of whack. And then the last test is a nutrient assay, and often that is it's not as important in the younger women,
Mm-hmm.
but it's always it's it's honestly like really super helpful, especially with the antioxidants on there. It really helps us tailor like what antioxidants are actually going to make a difference for you. I had a 37-year-old last week whose um, whose nutrient what was it? She had like one that I was like, what? That's nuts. Oh yeah, she's vegetarian. We could have maybe assumed what was going to show up, but she was actually deficient in CoQ10, which honestly, like, I don't see that often.
Mm.
CoQ10 is like one of the least likely to be deficient, but she was like super in the red. I was like, oh, guess we need to supplement CoQ10 for you. Like, this is pretty
Yeah.
rare. So even though like all of the fertility data and research says CoQ10 is going to be the magic, it's often not the magic.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we can figure it out if we know what people's antioxidant statuses are and
Mm-hmm.
which antioxidants their body is more likely to be supported by, which is
Yeah.
not the same for everyone.
I know both of us focus a lot on, egg quality, and our eggs are just so sensitive to toxins. Like, so we have to
Mhm.
have good antioxidant status to protect our eggs, but also even just the toxins we're exposed to, I know
Mhm.
both of us, if it's a case that seems to warrant it, we'll do toxin testing, right? Like
Yeah.
mycotoxins or environmental toxins. How much do you see that playing a role into this kind of area of fertility?
Mycotoxins are, I feel like they're taking over
I know.
a little
It's
bit.
the new Epstein-Barr virus. It's the new Candida. There's always like a microbe of the year, and I think mycotoxins have taken the trophy
They
for a few
have
years.
taken it. Yes, yeah. And like for for us, like it's not the default. Like we don't test it on everyone,
Mhm.
but we do see it playing a bigger and bigger role.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to come to terms with that still because mycotoxins are honestly like not an easy bag to
Yeah.
deal with, and they have the weirdest effect on fertility. Like
Yeah, they do.
obviously from the safety perspective, it's obvious like your body's not safe. If it's constantly detecting mycotoxins, even if you're not, your
Mhm.
body's not safe. So that level of response is definitely there. But the what I see, and I'm curious what you see, is I'll see like things are starting to improve with what we're doing, and
Mhm.
then they'll crash, and then they'll improve and crash and improve and crash, and you're like, what's happening? Like, why do we keep going through these cycles? Like, we've already covered your hormones, they were good. Now your estrogen's off the charts again. What's
Mhm.
going on? And often those weird, like cyclical things are mycotoxins.
Yeah, I find that too, and I my approach to mycotoxins and also chronic infections and toxicity has evolved over the years because I was finding that there was a small percentage of patients that weren't getting better, even though they were on the right treatment plan to address, those toxicities, like doing the right detox, doing the right treatment, maybe antimicrobial to address whatever it is. But their body was stuck in a state of trauma from all of that. And it's like they were still sensitive. They still couldn't eat a lot of foods. They couldn't go into certain environments, they couldn't smell mold again, otherwise they would get sick again. So a lot of it was going back to the whole topic of safety in their bodies, making sure that their
Mhm.
nervous systems are, more calmed. And that's where I started to lean in more to like nervous system rewiring,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I've recommended DNRS a lot. We had the lady that created that, Annie Hopper, on the show a few months ago, and then actually that was probably a couple years ago because my show is going to be relaunched soon. So we're doing new recordings now. But man, time is crazy. It's been a blur over the years. Lots has happened. Lots has occurred. But also like Primal Trust. There's a bunch of different programs that just focus on getting the body into a state of safety. So I was finding that that was a big piece that was missing. And that's probably why, because you can get these toxins out of their bodies, but then they're going to crash again if their body is still in that state of, unsafety.
Yeah.
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 So I found that too, definitely. So, okay, let's say if age isn't the reason for fertility issues, I mean, yeah, it can be a factor, but I find it's much smaller of a factor than people think. Like, what do you think are the real reasons for fertility issues?
Safety, of course.
Yes.
uh, so we have uh, the emotional safety. So we have the physical safety, physiological safety, and physiological is where we find all of the stuff like the mycotoxins, the in metabolic dysfunction. So if your blood sugar is on a roller coaster all day long, or your circadian rhythm is out of whack, or your thyroid's not functioning, those are all the things that I'm putting into physiologic. And then environmental safety, and those are the things that we often talk about is like toxins. What are the toxins that your body's constantly dealing with that
Hmm.
are either happening under the radar where you don't even realize, like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to put all that stuff into my body, or
Right.
the stuff that you're not thinking about, like cooking in pots and pans that are toxic, or storing your food in plastic storage containers, like just all of the things that we hear. Safety is my framework of here are all the things that could be happening, and we need to figure out what are the ones for you specifically, and um, what are, like, is changing these specific things going to be the way that your body then shifts its signals into reproduction rather than survival.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. And I love how it's a way to simplify it because it can feel like a rabbit trail in a million directions. Like, what's the thing for me? It's like, okay, well, it's
Right.
safety. How about all these different categories? And how does that show up for you as an individual? And it might be totally different than someone else. So I love that you touched on the importance of the partner's health. I know a lot of ladies will take on the feeling of shame, like there's something wrong with me. Why is my body not working? Blah, blah, blah. And I try to explain to them it's like, maybe if you're looking at a pie of overall success with fertility, a third of it is like unknown reasons, a third of it is the woman, a third of it is the man. So let's give attention where that's due and talk about the partner piece. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So male fertility is very interesting because it's on a decline. It's been on a decline for the last 70 years. We have
Yeah,
another 15 years before Handmaid's Tale comes to life. And I don't say it lightly. I know it sounds like haha funny, but like it's a very real possibility that in 15 years most men are azoospermic or have no sperm left. So
crazy.
we have a really big like in our face reality that has, I feel like a lot of their stuff has to do with the environmental toxins,
Yeah,
and honestly like the lack of hormone support. And like I'm saying this while thinking about all the guys that are being given T-shots without any education, like, hey, this is going to be birth control. Are you sure you want to do this?
right,
Uh, or like, who is taking care of these guys? So I think that, there's a lot of like, I feel like there's this upsurge of male hormone support, and all of it is driven towards testosterone. Was just
right.
talking about this with my co-founder the other day. He's like, I think I should just take testosterone shots. We don't want to have any more kids. And I was like, yeah, except you're burnt out. You run 5 businesses, and like you got a lot on your plate, and you have a 3 month old, right? Like, where is the let me slow down and recoup my hormones from a
Yeah,
more holistic place rather than let me take T shots that will totally work because you will feel like you have more energy, but
Mhm.
you haven't gotten to the root of it. So um, I think that we do have this kind of weird conundrum going on, which is like men are being pushed T shots. I don't know if this is true in your part of the world, but a lot of what I see is like every other corner has a testosterone clinic,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm in Southern California. I'm sure where the T shot, for people to know what that is, testosterone, uh, capital of the world for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like just I think the lack of education. It's fine. Take the testosterone, no problem. If you're not trying to get pregnant ever, right? Like
Right.
you're going to take testosterone for 5 years, 10 years, your hormonal system is going to be shot to the point where it's not easy to recoup with sperm.
Mhm.
And I see a lot of guys on the tail end of this where they've been on the hormones for a long time and now they're like, well, can you switch me to peptides and like how can I fix my fertility and I have no sperm, what can I do? And I'm like, you guys, like this is years. This is going to
Yeah.
take us years to fix.
Mhm.
And your partner is 44. Like we don't have years to fix this.
Yeah.
Um, so like often the conversation with them is like, okay, well, are we considering sperm donors because we may not have any sperm left? So that I think the testosterone conversation is a big one. The other is that there
For
are so
people.
many.
Oh,
Sorry, what
sorry.
was
I
that?
think I think the
Yeah, we
connection,
got cut off.
kind of jumped. Yeah, go ahead. You
Okay.
can finish that thought.
The other piece is really men having paying attention to the toxins that are going into their bodies. So
Mhm.
many of them are reproductive toxins. So many of them they are breathing in their cars, which is one of the guys' favorite place, right? Like his car has to be amazing, and he's got all the air fresheners and
Oh gosh.
cleaned it with this and that, and he's breathing all of this in such a small contained space.
Yeah.
So of course it's affecting his hormones, but he doesn't realize it. And
Mhm.
if that affects his hormones for long enough, that is going to play a role in sperm health. And then the last piece is the fragmentation of the sperm, the DNA of the sperm. And the DNA fragmentation partly is through toxins, partly is through, we have a few guys that are like farmers and
Yeah, I've seen that too. Mhm.
like so many toxins
Or car
related
mechanics.
to
I've
that.
seen, guys that work
Yes,
on cars. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I think that we have this like very real male fertility problem. And then we have a small group of guys. Maybe it's not that small. It's a small group of guys that the sperm look great, the DNA frag is great, yet their partner is either not getting pregnant or is not staying pregnant. And those, I love those because those are actually the easier issues to fix.
Mhm.
It's often blood sugar, insulin, cortisol, and um, methylation. And if
Yeah.
you fix those, the woman gets pregnant and stays pregnant.
Right.
So
Yeah.
and like all of those issues are on the male side, not the female side. So
Right.
those
Well,
are
for
yeah.
me, I got, like I said in the intro, I got to see you as a patient very briefly because I reached my goal fairly quickly. But for people who don't know my story, I was widowed a few years ago and then met my husband sooner after than I had expected. And I was, really blessed for that reason. But I really didn't think I was going to have another child. My son, I had him at 38. And it was actually interestingly when I was making my fertility course, Golden Eggs. So, and actually, my nutritionist who was working with me, she got pregnant too, and she had been diagnosed with premature menopause, premature ovarian failure. So it was crazy. Both of us got pregnant doing the program. But after being widowed, I just was like, well, it's probably not going to happen for me because I was 41 when he passed, and I was like, well. And we have been trying. He got a vasectomy reversal. We've been trying for a few months and it didn't happen. And then I was like, well, we'll see. And I didn't have as much pressure on myself, I think, because I already had a kid. I think that helped because I know we can put a lot of pressure on ourselves as women. Um, but met my husband and I just said, all right, well, let's kind of look into things. So I went and saw a conventional fertility doc. She did some testing. I also started to see you around the same time. I wanted both perspectives. I was just kind of curious what the process looked like on the conventional side because I hadn't gone that way before. And I obviously practice more holistic fertility like you. So but it was very different. It was very different. And I think she was one of the more open-minded ones, actually. She did do a little bit of hormone testing. She looked at my estrogen and progesterone, which was like groundbreaking, just that part. She did AMH, of course. And and she told me your labs look great. They look much better than I would expect. She goes, but I think you still need IVF because of your age. Because you're 43 at this point, you should do IVF because of because egg quality is probably not good. When I saw you, you said something totally different. You're like, I see a couple kids in your future. I don't see it looking like this at all. And my husband, he's like, we're good. We're gonna have a kid. Like it's just a matter of time. He was a lot more laid back about it. He has 4 kids from his previous life. So he didn't have any doubts about himself. But we did have a sperm test to do for him that was sitting on the nightstand that you had recommended. So we were going to do that. But what's so funny is during the appointment with the conventional doc, I was already pregnant during that visit when she was telling me that I should do IVF. So I thought that was funny. But one of the things that I focused on, the reason I bring this up is I did a lot with blood sugar balance. I think that's one of the things I did right. I really focused on having my blood sugar stable. I had gotten my thyroid a lot more balanced out. I think that really helped. And you know, ah, I can't say I wasn't stressed at the time. I was pretty stressed, and at the time I was gonna do a treatment for myself for SIBO. I was suspecting that. I was wanting to do like a mold treatment. Like I don't honestly think I was at the healthiest space to get pregnant. But what I will say confidently is my thyroid was more balanced. My blood sugar was a lot more regulated. I was sleeping a lot more. I think that was a really key piece for me. I also was on LDN. I do think low dose naltrexone was a beneficial thing for me because I do have some autoimmunity going on with my system. So that's my gut feeling. Those things really help. So I don't want to skip over the importance of blood sugar balance. For a lot of us ladies, we're on a blood sugar roller coaster, and that makes us
Yeah.
feel really unsafe in our bodies.
Yes.
So anyway,
That's
wanted
exactly what I
to
was gonna say.
attest to
Yep.
that. Yeah.
Yep. I think that that blood sugar roller coaster, or what was showing up for me, was like skipping meals
Yeah.
was
I wasn't
um
doing that. I was really prioritizing food.
yeah. Yeah. Just like prioritize regular meals. It needs to be meals, not snacks.
Mhm.
And being fed, quote unquote, being nourished is so crucial to whether or not your body allows you to get pregnant, because obviously it's like, well, if I'm not nourished, there's no way I'm going to survive. So already you're feeling unsafe about your own survival. Your body will not let you reproduce at that point. So
Mhm.
the blood sugar imbalances or roller coasters that so far so often we're on, and the sleep is interrelated, right? So often women are like not sleeping. I'm assuming you were sleeping relatively well.
I was, yeah. I was focusing a
um
lot on that.
yeah, it's
Mhm.
like, if you don't sleep, your blood sugar is on a roller coaster without you even knowing about it, right? You could eat
Mhm.
all the right things, you could eat organic and free range and grass fed and all the things, only to be like, sorry, you didn't get adequate sleep, and that's why your blood sugar is out of control.
Mhm.
So they're interrelated, and you can't really separate out one or the other. You really just have to prioritize all of the underlying lifestyle things as core things that you are doing to support your fertility no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm remembering as I'm thinking back to, I was taking myo-inositol. I know I started doing that a few months
Mhm.
prior. I believe I
Mhm.
was taking Vitex for a couple months, and I was taking progesterone after ovulation each month. So I was tracking that. And I think for me that was really helpful. But it was based on my own labs and what I needed.
Right.
So it was more, customized for me. So we talked about some things that can help, like working on your sleep, helping to bring a sense of safety, the blood sugar piece. Are there any other, let's say someone's Googling maybe some things they wouldn't find on Google or things that can enhance their fertility? Any other ideas?
Things I wouldn't find on Google. You can pretty much find everything on Google. The problem, infertility especially, it's like it's more sifting away rather than in, if that makes
Yeah.
sense, right? It's like I think most people come to me with like, here's a garbage bag full of all the supplements that I take. And they found it on Google, on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever. And it's all because it sounds good and because there's not truly any harm, quote unquote. We start doing all of these things. And it's really easy to go on that roller coaster rabbit hole of like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I can add in one more thing. That's fine. And before you know it,
Mhm.
you're like, wow, I spent $1,000 on supplements every month.
Mhm.
Uh, so it's really important, I think, to think about it from the opposite way, which is how do we filter away the crap rather than what do I need to add in? And the filtering away really comes with what what are the core things for me and how do I personalize this for me in
Mhm.
this moment? And it can change later down the road, right? You
Right.
if you hadn't gotten pregnant so quickly, it might have been like, okay, maybe we should do that mold detox or whatever.
Yeah.
But um in each moment, it's just really important to say, okay, based on what's happening right now in my life, in my body, and the way my body's responding, these are the things that I need to focus on. And even like usually we're working with people 3 to 6 months. So during that time frame, we're like, okay, for this month, we're only focusing on this one thing. Once that's a solid foundation, then we move to the next step. And
Yeah.
we really try to like sift away all the garbage because it's so easy. It's really, really easy. And even this morning, someone messaged me like, couldn't I add in CoQ10? And I'm like, absolutely. Like, there is no harm in adding CoQ10. But is it going to make a difference? That's a bigger question.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like really, really, really like make sure that you have some strategy behind all of the things that you're doing, because in this day and age, I feel like the information is easy. You
Yeah.
have access to tons and tons and tons of information, and I almost feel like our jobs as doctors is becoming the opposite, right? Like when I was in school, it was like education is the priority. Teach people how to do it. Teach people why they should do it. Now it's like no, that education is no longer the baseline. It's
Yeah.
really the strategy piece is what people need, and it's a lot more analyzing. It's a lot more like brain energy of
Mhm.
knowing and sifting and being like, yeah, we could do all of this at once, but let's really start here. And if we build that really well, then we may not need this second step, or we may need to do
Wow.
it less.
Wow, that's such a great way to put it. Yeah, it's almost like our patients are too smart. They have too much education, too much
Mhm.
knowledge. They don't know
Yeah.
how to do it in what order and how to customize it for them. So, yeah, that's a great way to say it. And that also takes a lot of pressure off of them from having to figure it out. So that right there can create safety, right? It's like you're
Yeah.
not on the hook completely. Like you get to be off the hook. We're going to help you and guide you through it. So that's
Gosh,
amazing.
and thank you for saying that and like turning it over to someone else who you can be like, you know what? Like, and for example, for you, like you are completely capable of doing this yourself.
Right, and I didn't wanna do
Uh
it at all. I was like, I don't wanna take the lead on this at all."
yeah, it's like letting go and being able to like turn that over to someone else who can hold your hand through it is safety,
Mhm.
right? Like it is going to help people deeper to know that someone else has got it and you don't have to micromanage it is
Mhm.
freeing in and of itself. And it, like for fertility, I feel like it's priceless because
Mhm. Mhm.
the overwhelm is real. The number of people that are like, oh my God, I have a second time job Googling stuff, like I'm constantly in groups trying to figure out what I should take and what I should do. It's really like it's time to really understand that even though fertility is natural, it's your natural state. It's so important for you to let go and let someone else take it over that is
Yeah.
going to be able to have a different perspective. And that's true for all health things, honestly. Like if I have something going on, I'm calling up my buddies. Like I'm not trying to fix it myself because I don't have the perspective of a non-attached person.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't
Um,
be objective if it's our own body
you can't,
completely.
can't.
Yeah.
And you need like the I had this happen recently. I was hanging out with a naturopathic doctor friend of mine, and she was like, I was like, oh, all this talk about perimenopause. What's that all about? I probably have perimenopause, but I'm fine. And she was like, what are your symptoms these days? What's your PMS like? And I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, I get headaches for like 6 days. She's like, perimenopause. And I was like, oh,
Like, why
okay.
are you calling me out, man? Stop calling me out.
Yeah, so she's obviously a perimenopause expert. So I was like, okay, I'll shut up. So like we're. I give this example as like I'm a doctor. I know all the things about hormones and perimenopause and whatever, but I am not going to be the person that is going to fix it for myself.
Yes.
Um, so
And
it's so
and also
important
too,
to
like it's not just the goal of just getting pregnant, right? It's like when you do this work, you're preventing a lot of issues for yourself
oh
down the
yeah,
line. You know, it's
absolutely.
like if you do the work of holistic fertility, that's going to make your future menopause experience better. It's going to, improve your bone strength, your sleep, your mood, your sex life, all this stuff. So there's a lot of other benefits, not just to conceive a baby.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, I could talk to you all day. I know we have things to get to. Are there any parting words, maybe for couples that are like, okay, I want to invest in this. Maybe I can't jump into it right now. Like, anything that maybe doesn't cost anything that they can implement like right away that could make a difference and move the needle for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like there are probably three things that I would do no matter what. One is prioritize sleep. I talk about this in my TED talk. Go look it up. We can link it if we can link
Yes,
it
we'll
in
put it in the
something
show
or
notes for
whatever.
sure.
Um, regulating your sleep, meaning you wake up and go to bed at the same time every single day, no matter what.
Hmm.
Weekends, do not do the extra, oh, I'm going to sleep in on the weekends. Don't do it. 40% improvement in reproductive hormones. That's what the research said, just
Dang,
from that one shift.
that's
So I
amazing.
would
It
do
doesn't
that
cost you
hands down.
anything. Doesn't cost
Yeah,
anything. You can do
exactly.
it. Hmm.
Exactly. The second is I would probably figure out if there are foods that are causing inflammation. The big ones are gluten, sugar, dairy, um, gluten, sugar, dairy. Those are the big ones, and corn sometimes.
Hmm. Hmm.
So those get rid of them, right? Like eliminate them. If you're not sure, just get rid of them. They're not that important.
Yep.
Uh, and that will go a long ways into reducing inflammation, which often is linking to fertility issues. And then the last is going to sound so silly, but is probably the most important, which is getting adequate hydration. Water, not
Yeah.
electrolytes that are loaded with sugar. I'm sorry, though
Yeah.
I'm not understanding the whole electrolyte thing here. Get electrolytes by adding mineral drops into your water, but get water. Like
Yeah.
drink enough good quality water because the number I had this woman who has she like heard it as part of a program that she's in. It was in one of my course modules, like you have to drink enough water. She got herself a big giant bottle and she's like, I just need to drink two of these every day. I know it. It sits on my desk. I'm doing it every day for the last 3 weeks. She's like, I have more energy. I was so dry down there. Like all the cervical mucus had gone away. It's back. It's
Mm. Wow.
like a whole new person emerged from just 3 weeks of drinking adequate water.
Wow.
And she couldn't stop raving about all of the benefits. Like she literally had 12 things that improved from this one shift that she made. She's
Hmm.
like, we're signing up for whatever you're going to offer us because I can't believe that water made that much of a difference.
Yeah, no kidding. What more do you have for me if I feel so good on just this?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
if that's the basics. So, yeah,
Mhm.
like start with those three things because I feel like those are going to make so many things better, not just
Mhm.
your fertility. Those are going to be improving your health on multiple levels.
I can confirm those for me. I was gluten free for a long time and avoiding corn for me personally. I did a test that showed corn was a bigger issue for me. So, it might not be gluten for one person, it could be something else.
Of course, yeah.
And I was really focusing on organic. So I wasn't, I was doing quality meat. I was avoiding the dirty dozen, the main, fruits and veggies with the pesticides. So I think those things were important.
Mhm.
And I was being hydrated. So the basics, man. The basics, you can't get away from how powerful the basics are. And no supplement will replace the basics. You still
Mhm.
got to do them.
Yeah, you
So,
can't out supplement your way through that.
no, not at all. So you work to train doctors and you also work with clients. So can you tell people a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to holisticfertilityinstitute.com. That's our website, or Instagram at holistic fertility doctor. And if you're a practitioner, we do have a practitioner training program. I only launch it once a year. Our doors are closed at the moment. They will be open in the fall. And we take very small groups of practitioners that are getting kind of deep level mentorship through becoming fertility experts, basically. And then for the client side, we have kind of the first step is testing, understanding what's happening, get to the root of what is underlying your fertility issues on both sides, male and female. And then the rest of the process is remove, rebalance, and receive. So remove is getting rid of all the toxins and crap, and you can start working on that. Like you don't have to wait. Um, and then the rebalance is all of the safety stuff that we talked about:
Mhm.
physiological, biochemical, environmental. And then receive is the mind, body, nervous system retraining, all of that stuff
So
that,
good. Oh, I love it. I
yeah.
love it. I love it. And then your podcast. So how can people listen to that?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. That's
Oh, I
totally
did this
free.
other cool thing. Let me tell you about that.
It's totally free. And there are like so many episodes. It's called Egg Meets Sperm. You can get it wherever you listen to podcasts.
Such a good name. Did you come up with the name?
Yes, I
I love it.
did.
So creative. It's awesome. Well, I thank you so much for having, so much to offer us today. Thanks for your time. And we'll make sure to put your TED Talk in the show notes, all the things that you plugged. So you guys definitely follow Dr. Simmons, Dr. Amalma. I love your name. What does your name mean?
It means eternal spirit.
Eternal Spirit. I feel like that fit. Beautiful. Well, we appreciate you so much, and we'll have you back on real soon. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Dr.